Let's go ahead and tackle another user story. This time, as a member of the fundraising team, I want to track donations against specific fundraising campaigns so that we can measure the effectiveness and the success of each campaign. The acceptance criteria is as follows. Given a gift transaction is being processed, when the campaign is blank, then the campaign should be automatically set to annual campaign. Let's look at a couple of things before we go ahead and build. If we navigate to the campaigns object, one thing I did that you might want to do is to have only one annual appeal, where the type picklist field is set to annual appeal, and then you might want to delete the other ones. I know we could add more conditions to even if there is more than one that has the type annual appeal, like annual appeal 24, annual appeal 23. We can add more conditions, but for simplicity for now, so that we focus on only one thing at a time, let's have only one campaign where the type is annual appeal. And we also got the campaign name set to annual appeal, and we've got the type picklist field set to annual appeal. Which one are we going to use to search? We will always use a picklist field. You don't want to use a name. You don't want to use a text field, because the users who enter the names or the text information might make a typo, and that's gonna screw up the search. So you almost always want to search against a picklist field instead. And the expectation is that when someone creates a new gift transaction and they leave the campaign field blank, then the annual appeal should be auto-populated in here. If it has a value, then we shouldn't do anything. Let's go ahead and build this flow. I'm going to go to the gear icon from the gift transaction object, and then I will edit object. Then I will navigate to flow triggers. I'll click new flow. It automatically populates the object. I'm gonna set this to when a record is created or updated, and down here I would like this to run when in fast field updates. We don't need system information like the record ID, and what we're going to do is we are updating only the record that started this flow, so we're gonna go with fast field updates. And if you want, remember our rule of thumb, go with fast field updates unless you stumble into a reason to change it to actions and related records. Let's set some entry conditions, and I like to think about entry conditions for the created part first, and then I would think about the conditions for the updated part second. And in this case, if it is a new record where the campaign is blank, then this should run. And if it is an updated record where the campaign is blank, then this should run. So both of them have the same condition. So we're gonna select either and or, it doesn't matter, and then we're gonna say campaign is null true, meaning there is no campaign. If there is no campaign, then we need to populate this. And down here, when it says when to run the flow for updated records, we're gonna keep it at every time a record is updated and meets the condition requirements. We'll talk about the second one at a later time. This here means that if someone goes ahead and updates the campaign from no campaign, from like the campaign had a value and then the user cleared that value, the flow would then check to see if the campaign is null, and it does find that it is null, it was cleared, then it's going to run again. And if someone goes and updates some other field like the donor field while the campaign is blank, then this is going to run again. So this is the expected behavior. This is what we wanted to do. Whenever it is blank, just run. Created, updated, updated this field, some other field, doesn't matter, just always run to populate this field. Okay, now what we need to do next is to grab that annual appeal. So I'm going to use a get element, and this is how to query and grab some other records. So we're going to need to grab the annual appeal campaign, or I could just say get campaign and then dash annual appeal. I would use a naming like this in case at a later time or as another part in the flow I would use like get campaign and then some other campaign. I wouldn't use two get elements to get two records. Instead I would use one to get both of them, and then probably loop through them and just create each one in a separate a variable, but this is not what we're doing now. It could be a later discussion. For now, we're getting one campaign. We're getting the campaign with the type annual appeal. So we're gonna search for the object campaign, and then we're gonna search for the field. This is where we set like the get me the campaign where these conditions are met. Would like the one where the type equals the annual appeal is not one of the pick list values that exist in the system. So it looks like this pick list is not restricted to the values in here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this from here. Where is the campaign? Campaigns. And then I'm gonna copy this. Remember, you almost always wanna copy paste. You don't want to type things down unless you want to make an error and then make a typo and then troubleshoot an error. Okay, and down here I wanna get only the first record. And how to store record data. This is basically saying from that record that we are retrieving, do we want to retrieve every field value or do we want to retrieve some of it? So I almost always go with the second option, choose fields and let Salesforce do the rest. And what this does is that it only grabs the ID and it doesn't grab anything else. And I like to think of the get element that the record that gets retrieved is like it makes a copy of that record in the flow. So that get, once we actually create it, if you look at the resources panel to the left side, you will notice that it has automatically created a record single variable. So it has created a record called campaign, and it says from get campaign. So it's that get that returned this record. So this record is the one that we see in the flow right now is not the actual one in the database. It's a copy of it. It just retrieved it and then it made a copy of it. And if we were to assign some value to some other field in that record, we are not changing the values of the one in the database unless we perform an update later on. Stepping back, we got the campaign, we selected which fields to retrieve, and we only got the campaign ID. And we don't need anything else for now. Okay, now next we need to set the campaign ID on the gift transaction. So we're going to use an assignment element. We are running a before say flow, so we don't have to use an update. We're going to assign campaign, or just assign campaign. To assign the campaign on the campaign ID field on the gift transaction that started this flow, I'm going to go to the triggering gift transaction and then campaign ID. And what is the ID of that campaign? That's the one that we retrieved earlier from get. So I'm going to search for the campaign from get. That's the one. And then I want campaign ID, and that's campaign ID here. Let's save this. Let's say auto assign campaign or auto populate campaign. Save. And let's activate. Let's go ahead and perform a couple of testing. We're going to go to the gift transactions, create a new gift transaction. We're going to leave the campaign blank, and we'll set this to 50, check, and save. All right. It got the wrong campaign. It got one that says unlocking potential. Let's open this one and troubleshoot. Okay, it does have the type annual appeal, which sounds correct. If we look back, we are retrieving only the first record that meets these conditions. So the fact that we got one different from the one that we were expecting, I was expecting to get this annual appeal, it means there is another campaign that is of type annual appeal. Let's actually confirm that theory. I'm going to create a new list view, just in my name. And I'll set this to all campaigns. And I will add a filter on type. And I'll set that type to be, it's not letting me do that. Okay, let's just, we're not gonna do that then. Let's save and let's sort by type and look at annual appeal. Interestingly, there is a bunch of annual appeal. Okay, we need to make some adjustments to get the one that we actually need. All of them have a status of completed, except the one that we need, it is in progress. And I'm gonna assume that the other ones are not active. If we add the active field next to the status here, then all of them are not active except for that one that we need. So let's go back to the flow, edit that get element, and then add an additional condition where we can add like status equals in progress, which should be sufficient. We could also add is active equals true. Let's save as a new version because it was active. We can't save in the same version. We have to save a new version. Let's activate and let's try again. Gift transactions, new gift transaction. $60 anything, and then we should see annual appeal here. So this is right. Now let's test something else. Let's clear this and save, and there it got populated again. If we were to clear this and some other field, it doesn't really matter at this point. If we do that, then it's gonna populate the annual appeal.